applause?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, already. Ruined my vibe. Anyway, it is Dave Sturcio. It is Tommy D. And this is The Fight Factory right here on the Premier Streaming YouTube channel. And, of course, the Premier Streaming Network's podcast network. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Hope everybody's enjoying their week. We are recording a day early, so we do not have Dynamite results, but we'll get into all the stuff leading up to Dynamite, plus all the Crown Jewel stuff and Raw and everything in a brand new segment this week that I had Tommy actually do some research, to contribute to this show, which he doesn't yet. He finally learned how to screen record.
Hey, that was good.
Terribly, too, by the way.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, listen, first of all, you got to turn your phone sideways and shove it up your kid. No. You have to turn your phone sideways and record it that way. You'll get better quality that way. Because you could tell when you record. I'm not going to get into this. Anyway, we are being brought to you and powered by.
Listen, folks, I tried.
Absolute Eyewear. Getting involved. Woodbridge. Go see Craig and Janine over there. Those guys have been supporting Chop Sports and everything that we've done since day one. They're the OGs. So thank you so much to Craig and Janine. And of course, Dudes Gourmet. Put Fight Factory at checkout, and you'll get yourself 20% off at checkout.
Oh, brother.
So
speaking of my seasoning.
Here we go. What?
Last night,
he rubbed it on his chest.
Listen,
he had sinus infection.
It's great hair removal, folks.
Him right up.
So last night, Tara, she didn't really feel like cooking because she had a few trials that she had to go do, and I didn't feel like cooking. So we ordered from the Italian place right by us, right? So I got
good call. Always good on Italian food. Go ahead.
I got a linguine with garlic and oil. Now they forgot to put the hot pepper flakes in.
Those bastards. What is wrong with them? Anyway.
So
you put that shit all over it.
So good.
The Barn Burner, Tommy's Barn Burner,
so good,
available through Tommy, I guess. You can contact him. He's got 55 gallons of
they're
this
gone.
shit.
They're gone.
You've sold them all?
No.
Oh, good. So you made no money for the business.
Listen, because when he starts selling them, people want more. Like one of the guys I gave it to.
More.
One of the guys I gave it to, it's done.
How?
He's put it on everything.
Yeah, I guess you are. But anyway. As you also notice, we fired Chris Payne. He's not with us this week. He's patrolling those streets over in good old beautiful sunshine of NYC as an everyday NYPD co-op. Chris Payne.
It's very Bostonish.
Our thoughts are with you. What?
It's very Bostonish when you do
co-op?
that. Co-op. It's very Bostonish.
I don't know. I try to sometimes I mix the cop the New York with the Boston with the Italy and Italian. I don't know. It's a little bit of a smorgasbord. But anyway, Chris isn't here, so that's why the show looks so much better.
Yeah, it does.
We don't have to worry about Chris's camera and his shelf and all this other. You could see that we've kind of dolled up across the way. You could probably see that.
It really is nice.
We do have some uplighting now, so we're trying to improve Chop Studios, which is where you can find this show being recorded, and you can also find the Wrestling Hour. Go check out myself and Josh Chernoff. If you're seeing this, it already debuted. Oh, yeah, and Tommy D's in it, too. We gave him another, I'm always looking for opportunity. And then opportunity has seen itself. So check out that. And Gabby AF is also recorded out of Chop Studios. So all of a sudden, half of Premier's, whole network of television and programs are being recorded right here at Chop Studios. So that's the way it ought to be. You know what I actually watched today?
It's a new Titan Tower.
It is. Now I just need a big flag outside of just saying Chop and just, whatever.
Say no more, fam.
Or Premiere. You know what I watched today, because I cut up a reel for them for Instagram, was I never actually give the time of day. It's no offense to them. I'm just not into it. I know Payne would because he loves it, but the major wrestling figure podcast with Brian Myers, Matt Cardona, and Smart Mark Sterling. I finally watched their show because I cut up a reel for them.
They're funny.
First of all, I've always known that part, but I just can't believe the market for wrestling figures. I just don't I know their downloads and I know their how many people watch them and subscribe to them and all this. I'm
you gotta get Pippi Longstocking in on that.
Man, did I
break buds?
Who's Pippi Longstocking?
Chris.
How do you compare Chris to Pippi Longstocking?
She's got freckles and shit and red hair.
I have never seen a freckle on his face.
You ain't looking hard enough, bro.
Pippi Longstocking. Anyway, yeah, maybe the break buds can get involved in that. But yeah, so they're a funny show. They're also available right here on Premiere. There's so much stuff on Premier Streaming Network. You can definitely get involved for the very, very cheap price, or you can go and get yourself subscribed to the Premier YouTube channel where you can see now us for free. You can see a whole bunch of people doing their thing for free, and I'm very excited.
$1 Million Man.
The $1 Million Man, RVD. Their podcasts are starting to kind of migrate over there. Gabby AF, who had Ric Flair, which was a phenomenal interview to see Ric Flair. And I have just bear with me for a second. Only because, and I know Gabby will say, hey, you didn't have to do this. You didn't have to say this. Because I do text with Gabby and Shay and Tony, her producer, from across the way. He actually works for ESPN. He's a really cool guy.
Nice.
So they put out videos of Ric Flair and her. And the comments, you would think these Neanderthals were raised by wolves. Listen, I am well aware that Gabby is an attractive young girl, right? Well aware. I'm not blind, nor is the rest of the masses. I have not once in my adult life, not even in my teenage life, whenever social media became prevalent to me, which was, I think it was like, I was 20 when it really got going, 19, 20. There was MySpace and shit, fine. But like, I've never commented on a attractive woman's picture, video, anything.
I think maybe I have once or twice, but not like.
But never to the extent of like, yo, I know Rick's not looking at her. I'm like, yo, dude, just come on, man. Like, I just, again.
With as many Woo Chews as he probably had, he wasn't looking at much.
Listen, he's got a million things. The Woo Chews, he's got the energy drink now, which is the official energy drink of AEW. He's got a bunch of shit going on. But like, I don't know, man. It drove me absolutely bonkers to see the comments because now I'm like linked with all of it.
Because you never pay attention. Like if you look at a lot of the comments, like Lady Frost when she puts a picture of herself on there's some thirsty guys. They don't read that and think, oh, that's nice. They look at you and think you are a basement-dwelling scumbag who's never talked to a woman before.
You know what's funny? Like Instagram, the algorithms and shit, they usually like suggest to follow.
Yeah.
And if I click on an attractive girl's account and she has like 125,000 followers, guess what? I'm not following.
No.
Because she don't need me. You know what I mean? Like she's good.
Well, here's the other funny
I don't know, man. It's just
with Elon Musk taking over X. Are you getting
Twitter.
An influx of these weird follows that they're not real people?
There's a million bots out there, dude.
It's hysterical. And I'm just like,
and again,
why?
And that goes back to most of the time, it's these goobers that are just hanging in their basements. It takes a real psycho loser to pretend you're somebody else.
Yeah.
That's a mental disability, and I'm not one to speak on or negatively about anybody's mental health because I'm a big advocate for it. But there's a time and a place, and there's also you're a psycho nut.
Yeah.
Like, so that's how we'll start off today's show by saying stop being creeps, watch the damn shit, enjoy it, because it's the fucking GOAT, Ric Flair, which I love Ric Flair. She called him the GOAT. I just call him the GOAT. WWE has been calling John Cena the GOAT in his intros.
It's hard not to. Even Ric Flair has said it.
Yeah?
That he's one of him, Shawn Michaels. Ric Flair puts these guys over him all the time. And he did it when he had his own podcast and everything like that.
Yeah, do you in your mind have a crystal cut GOAT?
No, there's just like with MMA.
Well, I know we've done Mount Rushmores and shit like that, but
and even that, like just like with MMA, this isn't basketball and football where there are guys that you can say that. When it comes to pro wrestling, it's too hard.
You could say that about basketball?
Yeah, I mean you can't. Well, first of all, you can't neglect Jordan as a GOAT. You can't neglect
LeBron.
You can't neglect Larry Bird as a GOAT.
Anyway, this can be on and on and on. But like I always wondered
with wrestling,
and it's a
MMA,
humbling
it's
thing.
too hard.
It's a humbling thing, right? Because I spoke to somebody who's actually friends with Emmitt Smith the other day.
Fuck Emmitt Smith.
I'm not going to drop any names.
Fuck Emmitt Smith.
Besides Emmitt Smith, and relax on that.
I've met the man here in New Jersey. Fuck Emmitt Smith.
So I was just going to say, the guy I was talking to says that, and I've never met Emmitt, but Emmitt refers to himself as the GOAT. And I'm just like, well, you know, stats don't lie. You know what I mean? And maybe that's why you could say that about Cena. 16-time champion. Stats don't lie, right?
Yeah.
But I always look at championship reigns and title, the quantity of them, like how many times you've won the champ. That means you've also lost 15 times.
Well, Ric Flair's always said this about himself. He goes, "I've lost 5,480 times, but I've won 16 times."
Right. So it's like, I'm not a Bret Hart guy or a Shawn Michaels guy, but you can't tell me how many times.
You're not a
I've
Shawn
won.
Michaels guy?
I meant like, I meant in the sense of saying like, I think Shawn's the GOAT, but I also think he had like 3 or 4 championship runs, and that's it.
See, it's hard for me. You look at it like that too, but for John, he's a guy who stood the
First
test
name
of time.
basis now all of a sudden.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He's actually sitting right next to us.
Yeah, I mean,
He just can't see him.
he's the guy who stood the test of time for a while now, right? Every time he comes back, it's huge. Just like The Rock. The Rock is up there as one of the GOATs.
See, if I had to put my finger on the pulse of a guy,
Ooh, here we go again, folks.
No, what I'm saying is, like, I'm taking championships out of it because again, it's stories, it's fixed, and we already know who's going to win and lose, or we don't until it happens. But the writers do, right? So the writers are actually if you put stats in it, you're putting the writers as the dictators of who the GOAT is, right? Because it's like, oh man, well, Freddie Prinze Jr., when he was a writer for WWE, if he put the Intercontinental title on Jericho 18 times, you're like, well, who's the GOAT? Chris Jericho or Freddie Prinze Jr. for putting it on him 18 times? So I always take belts out of it. Championships, sorry. But if I had to like look at a guy that created wrestling, that signified wrestling, that is a household name from Jump Street all the way to now, meaning started his career wherever he was, either organization, WCW, WWE. Didn't matter where he started because as soon as he started, he was a national icon and it never went away. The Rock, it took some building. Stone Cold, it took some building. They didn't have to really build Hulk Hogan. Hulkamania ran wild.
Andre.
But Andre was short-lived. Hulk Hogan stood the test of time for a
Bruno
long
Sammartino.
time. That's a different generation. And I just think that, Hulk Hogan, if you ask anybody on the street.
And Flair's even put Hogan up there in that conversation.
But that's what I'm
too.
saying. Like, and I understand people feel a certain way about Hogan sometimes because you could shoot off at the mouth. But at the end of the day, there's categories, I think, to this shit. Most successful in the business of wrestling, Hogan. Most successful in all of entertainment, The Rock. Yeah. Right? And then you have like the greatest in-ring performer to me is Shawn
Michaels.
And Shawn, right?
Rick said that a million times.
But like that's why there's categories to this shit. But like all encompassing, you can go to Joe Schmo on the street and say, who's Hulk Hogan? And they're like, he's a fucking wrestler.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody knows John Cena too, but you talk about it.
Yeah. I'm well aware he's
what
super
it is?
popular.
You know what? Yeah, but you know why a lot of, especially like with G, my son, he never saw John Cena before, but he knew
Nobody
the
can.
He knew, yeah, he knew the name because they'll always use the entrance music like for videos on YouTube.
Sure.
So that's how he knew that. So if you hear the name John Cena, you know who it is. Yes, you're right. Hulk Hogan.
Same thing goes with Real American. That's been used a million times over.
And it didn't
Hogan.
even start with Hogan. You're right. It didn't even start with Hogan.
Really? Somebody, Rick Derringer? What's his name?
It was used for, I forget who the tag team was. I don't
know. No way. Somebody used Hogan's. First of all,
it was before Hogan.
Oh, I was going to say, because I think the Stooges used it for a little while.
It was before Hogan.
Was it Briscoe and Patterson? They used the whole Real American when they were on the outs, when Hogan was on the outs.
It was before Hogan.
Wow, but that's funny.
No, John Cena is definitely up there. And you talk about, he's creeping up on The Rock with all of entertainment, with all the movies that he's been doing now. And, he had to get permission from the SAG to come back to WWE right now. And honestly, I think they need him. He's been doing great things with them right now. He gave NXT a great push, which we're going to talk about that later on in the show. It was a decent match at Crown Jewel, which we're going to be talking about. And it's nice to see Cena there coming towards the end of his career. He's giving us what The Rock didn't give us, if you want to think about it.
We shall think about it. So let's start with Crown Jewel. It happened on Saturday afternoon, which again,
I watched it in the afternoon.
I couldn't.
I'm glad I did.
Engagements, and you can kind of explain to me because I saw very, very little. I saw results. I saw little clips on Twitter. I saw shit like that. You could fill in the blanks for me.
If I'm going to be down the middle in, so bashing. I bash AEW enough. Right now, I'm going to come at WWE.
All right.
It was a very lackluster pay-per-view with, a couple good matches, but for a premium live event that the Saudis are paying you a shit ton of money for, they went very safe with a lot of the finishes, especially in the main event.
Well, let's go over it.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn defeats JD McNugent. Shay's note said McDonald took a nasty bump.
Yes.
Said he didn't rotate all the way and hit the ropes awkwardly. Was it like bad? I didn't see
scary.
It. Yeah, really scary. You said.
Yeah.
Okay. So Sami Zayn gets the win over there. Seth Rollins. Now here's where we were all wrong. We're all wrong. We all said this is it. It's Drew's time. McIntyre's about to flip this thing on its head.
It's really coming now after this match.
It absolutely is.
Well, no, because there was a cut scene at the end of the match where Drew's sitting in the back and he's got his hand on his head.
And Rhea comes by.
And Rhea's standing right next to him and he looks up over at her. So that turn is definitely coming.
So you think he's Judgment Day bound?
I think so.
Interesting.
But the match itself was outstanding. It really, look, Seth Rollins does not have bad matches.
Sami Zayn was also involved in this match at the end. After the match, we saw Priest come out, try to cash in. Sami Zayn comes back into the fold and distracts him and can't get it done. So that was big.
Now, I want us to discuss this because I know you weren't watching, but you did tweet this as I was up in my attic getting all the Christmas stuff down because it's Christmas approaching in the Dijon household.
Mm-hmm. Who the hell's Dijon?
Me.
I thought it was Tommy D. I thought everybody's
last name. Shit. I just stooged myself out.
I thought like everybody's last name was just D. But anyway, what happened?
Your text message about
I sent a lot.
Sammy stealing the Money in the Bank.
Yep.
Come on. So now we can have the discussion.
Yes. So I made it public that I don't like those types of gimmicks when somebody steals something, a la AEW with the Triple B being taken by
and Nyla Rose
Jay White
stealing Jade's belt. They've done that a couple times.
Okay, so I hate that. I'm just like, it's so weird. And now like MJF has to go like win to get his own belt back. Right, it's just weird.
And I get that point.
So I was like, man, I've brutalized that. And then the WWE goes out, has Sami Zayn take the briefcase and run away.
Right, but see, here's the, and I understand. I knew you were going to say that day. As soon as I saw it happen, I go, I'm just waiting, and there it was.
On cue.
So with the belts, yes, you're right. That is very stupid because Jay White stole it. So you have to beat me in order to get it back. That's called a title defense. So if you beat MJF, the belt that you've stolen, you get to keep. With the Money in the Bank contract, there is no other contract that they can draw up for it because it is that one contract that's inside that briefcase. So Sami Zayn stealing it from him, he couldn't just go out to a world championship match without that to cash in.
He can't cash in.
Nope.
So what the?
So he can't just.
So he's just
up.
Preventing Priest from cashing in, really.
And that goes with what Sami Zayn's promo was on SmackDown the night before, which was taped. I know everybody knows that it was taped. It was taped.
Okay.
Where he said, I'm not going to give the Judgment Day the power by having another belt.
Interesting.
So it's going into a storyline. Like,
I like it.
And I get your frustration, but
look, I don't
well, no,
really
they
care,
reiterated that on the program of Damian Priest can't just show up and cash in because he doesn't have the contract.
I like that then. In that regard, makes sense. Rhea Ripley defeats everybody. Okay, so there was Jax, Raquel Rodriguez, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark for the Women's World Championship. The following night on Raw, I believe they did a battle royal for the number one contender. We'll get into that. So my question now is, on the next match, Solo Cena. I mean,
that was a brutal ending, dude.
I didn't see the end. So what? Explain to the peeps out there.
Well,
watching
I mean,
the show.
there was a lot of false finishes. John probably wrestled the best that he has since he's come back. It was a really good match. Fuck, Solo brutalized him.
Yeah. And Cena probably told him.
Oh,
lay
yeah,
it
absolutely.
In.
No,
lay it all in.
Not even just laid in. He hit him with like 85 thumbs to the neck. And the last flurry, he had John, I guess, like sitting on his butt, and he had his head in his arms, and he just kept hitting him right in the neck with it. And then that's how he got the pin. And John kind of laid there. Now, here is my problem.
I would have, I'm just going to cut you off real quick.
Sure.
I would have referee stoppaged it instead of making him pin him.
Yeah.
Like to the point where he's going ham on him and the referee's like, yo, ring the bell. He's out. Like,
you know
it's
what
done.
would have killed that, though? Because their WWE's production team lacks sometimes, too. You could see John calling the cues. You see his mouth. He's talking to Solo, calling the cues.
Well.
But, I mean, that's what you get when you want to have these HD 4K cameras and stuff.
Right up in your fotch.
But
Yeah.
he stayed down. Solo left, and when he got up, like, the crowd was going nuts for him and chanting his name. So you could see that it's coming towards the end. And I got really mad at the end of the night because what we called
Did not happen.
No.
So
it would've
Miss
been
TV was
perfect.
with Ibrahim Al-Hajjaj. Is that
He's
the
a
mayor
comedian.
or some shit?
No, he's a comedian
Out there.
from there, but he's also been on American TV.
Oh, cool.
That was he had a pretty good spot with
Did he?
that.
All
Yeah.
right. And The Miz always delivers with everything he does. So the big shock, not to us because we all called it, Logan Paul wins himself his first
It was a
WWE Championship, the United States
Great
Championship
match. I mean,
Now, I just saw something on Twitter or Instagram. WWE put it out of like what happened immediately after. And like Logan Paul's like, you're a legend, Ray. You're a legend. But then like all of a sudden he was like, I won clean. And Ray's like, you know what you did.
Yep.
And it's like, so what'd he do? Because I didn't see the end.
so
I saw
one-
the end.
One
What was the
of
end?
Logan Paul's cronies came with the brass knucks.
Saw the match. Then I saw it. Okay. Then I did see that. So,
But it looked like they weren't going to be used because they got thrown out of the ring. But then Ray
who's
was
this
going for-
crony? Like the
One of the
boxer
other-
guy?
No,
The other guy?
one of the
The
one
guy
of
who
his
dressed
other
up as the
friends.
Prime bottle?
Probably.
All right.
He was going for the 619. That's when he ran, grabbed it, threw it to him, and that's when he stepped back and then
He
cracked
launched
him.
him. Yeah, I saw that.
It was
part.
a really good match. And again, Logan Paul doesn't have bad matches since he's been there. Rey Mysterio, if you're going to work with anybody, that's the guy you want to work with, obviously, because he's going to take care of you and make you look the best.
And that championship has not been, I don't want to call it relevant, but like this
been
puts
boomeranged.
a little heat on it. I think.
Yeah.
I think it really does. You need a heel champion over there because you really can't. I mean, Roman Reigns, yeah, but it's like people.
And I
still
didn't
like
think
him.
it worked with Theory.
Yeah, you're right. It didn't work with Theory because there was a heel United States champion for a long time.
It
and
will work with. I just hope this.
I
Gets
love Logan Paul. I think what he's
this
gonna do
Yeah,
is
but
great.
I hope this gets Logan Paul to wrestle more. I want to see
Has
him
to.
more out there. And
Yeah,
you
he
know
has
my
to.
feeling on the Paul brothers.
Yeah, right. Nobody really likes him. Io Sky defeats Bianca Belair for the women's championship. Kairi Sane returned to attack
Yeah.
Bianca to help Io win.
Yep.
So she's not hurt anymore.
Nope.
Love
And
her.
I mean, it was a good return. The match was really good. It was great to see Bianca back in there.
Says Bailey didn't know what was going on, so this will probably lead to a damage control breakup, is what producer Shay says.
We've been calling for
Yeah,
that
I mean,
for the
this
past
is the
year.
worst three-person faction of all time.
You know
I
what?
really-
It's starting to grow on me in the fact that, you know what? They haven't gone away, so it's got to be working at some point.
I guess. I don't know. Cody Rhodes defeats Damian Priest. Was it any good?
It was a good match.
Yeah.
It was a good match.
What's in the poster for Survivor Series? We'll get into that in a second. But it's like, have you seen it?
I think it's great.
I think it looks like Stardust.
Do you think he shit his pants when he asked him to paint his face for a for a promo?
Triple H is like, hey, we had to do a photo shoot of if you could just paint your face. And Cody's like, the fuck did you just say? You know, like, not again, buddy. Roman Reigns is still your reigning, defending Universal
I mean, the
Champion as
match
he
was
takes
okay. It
out
was just
L.A.
safe.
Knight. So, look, I didn't think it was this time yet. Payne thought, no. Did anybody actually pick L.A. Knight to win it? No, right? It was a clean sweep, Roman? Because he thinks there's something going on in Survivor Series, I know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But now I don't think that's even a thing.
But like the ending went so safe.
What do you mean by that?
Like there was interference, but there really wasn't because L.A. Knight was fine. Like he dropped. I think it was Jimmy. Like he dropped it. It was fine. And then it almost looked like it was like a clean pin, spear, and then that's it. He didn't even hit him with the Superman punch.
They hit blunt force trauma or no?
He hit him with the spear. Yeah,
I'm talking about did LA Knight hit the finish at all?
He might have.
Okay. So
Yeah, he
that
might
was
have.
Crown Jewel in a nutshell.
I mean, it was an okay match.
Nothing
but-
crazy. Nothing too out of the.
No,
Again, again, these guys, the Saudis, are going to pay top dollar for these guys to come over there and just deliver a show.
I just
they
think
don't
it could've
really.
been-
I don't even think the WWE. They at this point, I feel like the WWE can absolutely mail it in if they want to. The Saudi, they're going to give them the money.
Last year's was better than
It
this
was,
year's.
absolutely
I can
was.
tell you that right now. Last
Yeah,
year's
no.
was better than this year's.
Wasn't it Paul and Roman?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that match was fucking incredible.
And this was a good match. Like, I'm not saying the match was bad, but it just felt too safe. A lot of that program just felt too safe.
Got you. So Monday Night Raw, Sammy told Seth that if the Judgment Day holds the World Heavyweight Championship, they'll become the Bloodline 2.0. So he's trying to avoid that. But I believe in that promo, Sammy was granted a World Championship match, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so we'll get to that in a minute.
How come nobody's saying that that's wrong, but everybody was saying that MJF versus Kenny with no build was wrong? I'm going to give you the difference. MJF was surpassing Kenny's title reign, who is the longest title reign in that company's history.
5-6 year history.
So you do want to build with that. This is just Seth Rollins because he calls himself the fighting champion. He's defending his belt constantly.
I like it. Finn Balor and Damian Priest defeat the New Day. That was a tag team championship match. That was announced earlier in the day, so that happened.
That happened.
Shinsei Nakamura defeats Tozawa. After the match, Otis got in the ring and kind of challenged Nakamura to a match. Kind of challenged.
It wasn't a full challenge.
That's what Shay said there. The Miz defeats Ivar, Ricochet, Bronson Reed to face Gunther for the net. So it's Miz and Gunther, just like we said last week.
Dude, that match.
I love it. I'm actually going to
That match
watch
was
back.
insane. I've never seen Miz hit a tornado DDT before.
I have.
Not on a 300-pound fucking Viking.
Not on him, no.
And then I sent you that clip of Bronson Reed flipping.
Oh man! Stay tuned to the ready for this, to the social medias over there on the old Premier Streaming Network on Thursday. This Thursday, which by the way you're watching this, it's Thursday, so it probably already dropped
today.
The throwback that I created was Bronson Reed versus Jacob Fatu from House of Glory. Holy mass! Just a lot of mass in that match.
Meaty men slapping meat.
No, just kicking the shit out of each other. So the match was supposed to end in a double pin. Miz pinned Reed and Ivar pinned Ricochet, but Ricochet might have suffered a concussion from reports during the match, unexpectedly kicked out of the pin.
Yeah, it was. I think it was that spot that I sent you.
Yes, so that's a thing. We've seen it in pro wrestling where sometimes guys are just cuckoo.
Undertaker still can't remember that match against
Lesnar,
Lesnar.
which is so scary. Look, I'm a testament to it because I've experienced it in my final match or my final match before I made the comeback. I got knocked silly. I remember waking up and then I'm like, all right, I'll get up and feed for the line. He's like, you hit it already. And I was like, holy shit. So I'm well aware that can happen. So just, prayers
I've always been fortunate.
to Ricochet because he's a fucking thrill seeker. Anyway.
I've always been fortunate with the concussion, even the subdural hematoma that I had. I've never lost time. I always remembered what happened before and what happened after.
I'm like 5 or 6 deep, dude.
I'm a lot more than that.
Well, you're used to train MMA, so I remember I got within the first 3 months of wrestling training. I remember just getting dropped and like cracking a rib and busting my head like immediately. As soon as we started hitting the mats, I was like, "Oh man, this ain't for me." So I was scared of the
Mick
rip.
Foley and Terry Funk had a full 40-year career.
Yeah, with like 87 registered concussions. The Creed brothers are back and they defeated DIY because Imperium came out and distracted Gargano. Okay, fine. I still like the Creed brothers. I think they got a nice little future.
They're great, man.
I like them.
I like them a lot in NXT. I think they're going to do great things because we talk about that WWE needs more tag teams.
I'm aware. Yeah,
on the main event roster.
We have ourselves a new #1 contender for the Women's Championship, and that is Zoe Stark, as she wins the Battle Royal to face Rhea Ripley at Survivor Series. Before the match, let's see, Z Lee attacked Becky. Pierce said that she's no longer in the match, and because of the attack, Becky wasn't cleared to wrestle in the match either. So anyway, Zoe Stark is your winner. So Zoe Stark versus Rhea Ripley.
I know Payne's not that high on her yet.
Who, Zoe?
Yeah, I think she's
I think she's got something.
Good.
I think she's got something for
Definitely
sure.
think she's got something.
100%. Seth Rollins in a championship match defeats Sami Zayn for the World Heavyweight Championship. After the match, Judgment Day attacked both of them. Jay and Cody came out to help him. Adam Pearce.
He lost his shit.
Adam Pearce lost his fucking mind.
He channeled his inner...
and it was great.
He channeled his inner...
Regal.
Regal, yeah.
Yeah. And it looks like we're going to get War Games.
Yeah.
At Survivor Series, and that's Balor, Priest, Dom, and JD McNugent to take on Cody, Sammy, Jay, and Seth freaking Rollins.
And
so therefore...
one person to be named later, because it's got to be 5-on-5.
Balor, Priest, Dom, and JD. So they need a fight. They need a fifth?
Yep.
That's going to be...
We don't know.
That's going to be fucking... I just fucking said it. McIntyre.
He would be... No. Judgment Day already has a fifth.
Balor, Priest, Dom, and JD. That's 4.
I thought they had a fifth.
I don't know. I'm seeing what she wrote. That's 4.
Wait,
and it looks
now
like there's only 4 on the Cody side, too. Cody, Sammy, Jay, and Seth.
I thought they were saying that there was going to be 5-on-5.
War Games. I don't know. I don't know what's...
Now I got to look. Go ahead.
All right, go ahead. Anyway,
keep
well, that's
talking.
it. That's the end of Raw. Another schmaz. That's what we'll call him again. Schmaz at the end of Raw. Looks like we're getting War Games at Survivor Series, which is great. The poster is cool.
I love the poster. I like the whole camouflage.
I think it's great because it's just every action movie ever in the 80s, there was always some hero coming out of the water dressed in camouflage, whether it be Rambo or fucking
Chuck Norris,
or whether it
fucking
be
Chuck Norris.
Arnold coming out doing Predator shit. You know what I mean? So like, there's always somebody coming out of the water, and now it's Cody. And if you look into his eyes, what do you see? Just kidding. That ship is definitely sailing. I think.
Dude, I don't know, man.
Listen, I told you guys from the jump. I said it. I said way to completely deflect and say there's no interest and all this other shit, and people are, I guess there's no interest, right? And it's like, come on, man. Like, if they're going to do something like that at Survivor Series, do you think there's going to be a soul on the planet? Did you know Edge was going to come back in the Royal Rumble? No. Did you know that the Hardys were going to return at WrestleMania? No.
What about the Dudleys?
The Dudleys at Royal Rumble? No. This could be another example of them being so
people are going so deep
closed-lipped.
into this right now.
I don't want to hear the deep
Like
shit.
they're
'Cause that's
looking
so
at
stupid.
they have CM Punk
Losers.
under the iconic part of their website now, and I'm like,
Do they?
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that. But anyway, I think that it's a very good
you're
possibility.
right. So I was reading that they were supposed to be 5-on-5. I didn't see that it was supposed to be 4-on-4. So maybe it is going to be Drew McIntyre and a person to be named later. I don't know.
John Cena. Could be everybody. Could be the turn of the century at Survivor Series. We're waiting for.
Yeah.
Somebody there. I don't know. We'll get there. Viewing party right here at Chop Studios. Hit us up.
I can't believe it's only like 2 weeks away.
I know, man. Survivor Series comes quick. All right. Skirt. Let's go over to AEW where Swerve Strickland defeats AR Fox on Collision. Like I said, we don't have the results of Dynamite because we're recording a day early, so we don't have it. The Kingdom defeats 2 jobbers. Good. Darby, Lance Archer, fine. Jake Roberts came out and announced he's also managing the Righteous.
Mm-hmm.
They're just looking for stuff for him to do, huh?
Yeah.
I love Jake Roberts.
Well, because he touts them on every one of his tweets on his show. Listen, I love seeing Jake Roberts in the business doing good things. I would like to see him in WWE because I think he could help some of these guys on promos, a la Logan Paul.
I got chills when I got to see Jake Roberts hit a DDT on the lifeguard, Mike Dell, in PWS. I was right there. I was like, this is so
I would
cool.
just get chills just to hear him cut a promo because he is one
just
of the
a
top
raspy ass
promo
voice.
guys.
I loved him. Every time I met him, I was there. He was there in Chicago as well. It was awesome. He's a very just legendary guy.
Normal man has 5 senses, but Snake has 6.
The Acclaimed had their 69-day celebration. MJF told Caster that
that was great. I don't know if you saw
earned his
it.
respect. I did. And Caster started to grow on him like a fungus.
Yeah.
Yes, that whole thing. And again, it might sound like I'm like super pro MJF, but find me something that he's done in the last, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years that has been bad. I don't know. He's on top of his game in every facet you could possibly be on top. He's doing it all. And I think this Acclaim shit is hilarious. And I think it works. The Acclaim then and Billy Gunn defeat Dalton Castle and the Boys for the Trios Championship. Mark Briscoe, Dustin Rhodes, and Keith Lee. Dustin Rhodes, good to see him back. Defeats Kip Sabian and the Workhorsemen. Who the fuck are the Work? Oh, I don't remember them. Never mind. Willow Nightingale defeats Emi Sakura. LFI, not to be confused with LFO. And FTR defeated Ricky Starks, Big Bill, baby, Count, and Toa Leona. After the match, House of Black came out to attack FTR. LFI already walked out on FTR, so Claudio and Wheeler Yuta came to their aid. House of Black.
I love that you said his
House
name
of Black
like he
retreated. I saw that real quick. I thought she was like, House of Black's retarded.
There it is.
Sorry, there's a hard R here on the show. There is some news.
I'm glad that you went over the Collision results because nobody else watched it.
It is what it is at this point, man. I mean,
you know what though? It's rough on a Saturday. You had the premium live event.
I know.
And college football.
Yeah, of course. And it's going to be tough. But now, going forward in starting, I guess in December, monthly pay-per-views for AEW. So they're going to try their very hardest to just compete and just keep drawing new fans. And
just don't do it on a Saturday because you're just setting yourself up for failure.
No, they got Collision on Saturday. So, in any event, WWE news: Brogan Finley's son, has signed with the WWE. And
does he come out with the shillelagh?
I hope so. Question. NXT officially will be moving to the CW in 2024. Now, my question is
October.
My question is this. Is NWA still doing the CW?
So remember the video?
Did they just overcut it?
Remember the video that I sent you where I said?
Sometimes I don't watch all the stuff you send me.
Well, it was videos on Twitter.
Okay.
I think they were poking a little bit of fun at Tony and AEW, and they had that manager guy.
Who was making fun?
So remember when he showed us that picture of that manager guy that you said that Drew McIntyre was looking like?
Yes.
He was up in the top rafters with some chicks, and they made it look like they were snorting coke on a table. Looks like CW backed out after they saw that. So now it seems like they weren't really doing coke, ladies and gentlemen. They were.
Wait a minute. So CW saw that on NWA television.
Because as soon as that video got shown out there, it looked like the CW thing went out the window.
Why would you?
So now reports are coming out on Twitter that people are not happy with ownership of NWA right now, Mr. Corgan.
Just because of that spot?
I guess. I mean, it kind of ruined it for them,
It did.
If that's what it is.
I mean, look, what else could it possibly be? That's horrible. But guess what? There might be a home for you after all. We'll see.
And another big news.
Yeah, you were telling me right before we started rolling.
So, and I mean, everybody is shocked because they figured, I think her name is Julia. That's the way it's spelled. She's from England. She's English-Italian,
Sound like you're from London. Go ahead.
She's English-Italian.
My kind of girl.
She's a rising star in Japan for Stardom. You talk about strong style. She makes Kenny Omega and Mandy Rose's running knee look fake.
We shall see.
Here's my question, because the WWE way is not the full-on strong style way.
You saw it with Nakamura when they brought him over. He had to clean it up a little bit.
Do you think it's going to be? Do you think it's kind of like going to be wasted on them signing her just to keep her from signing with AEW?
Now keep this in mind. The merger happened. There could be a whole nother brand or breed of things that are down the pipeline that we don't know about.
Because she does work stiff.
And maybe there's going to be a place for that. I remember WWE had that failed Fight Club or whatever that fuck that was. God. That was horrible. Speaking of that, what happened to
Omos?
Yeah, where's he been?
I don't know. Maybe they're repackaging him.
How do you repackage him?
I don't know.
What are you gonna fucking? He's a tree now. That's it. He's a fucking tree. Like what?
Well, with all the people that are saying that Nia Jax is stiff, I think that would be a great first match for her.
My boy Matt sent me a video the other day, yesterday, and it was, you'll remember this, is when Braun Strowman got stiff with Brock. And Brock was like, "Oh, that was cute." Boink! And he just like sparked him. I'm like, "Oh my god!" And my buddy was like, "Did you ever see this?" I was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "That's why you don't fuck around with Brock." Like,
could you
fuck around and find out?
Could you
exactly
imagine those two in an actual?
There's Payne
shoot?
there, by the way. Hey, Payne. Hey, bud.
Could you imagine those two in an actual shoot?
Who? Brock and Braun?
Yeah.
Brock would kill him. I like Braun, but Brock would just
I mean, just think about that.
It would be a freaking
Godzilla versus King Kong.
Right, it's the biggest thing you've ever seen.
Who's breaking that up in that locker room?
Adam Pearce, obviously, and the Hurricane, and Jamie Noble, and guys like that. The Stooges are back there.
That's they look at Vince and go, "I don't think so, brother."
Yeah, not me, not today. Anyway. before we get out of here, there is a new segment that I told Tommy to do some research on, and we're going to be calling it the Fight Factory This Week in Wrestling. Now, I know, what? Imagine that. No other show in the history of shows have ever done anything like this. I know. I'm just a historian. So is he. So is Payne.
Well,
So Payne
they've done this day in wrestling. I'm going to take the week, and I'm going to be doing this throughout the year.
Yeah. So it's as we record this, it's November 8th. So you did the 6th to the what?
The 6th to the 12th.
The what?
6th to the 12th.
Okay. So 6 days in pro wrestling history. He brought out one per day. Hit me with the first one, and I'll say yay or nay if I remember it. And if I do, I'll talk about it.
All right. So November 6th, 1994, the pay-per-view When Worlds Collide aired, when AAA, WCW, and Puerto Rico's IWC worked together, having the famous match between El Hijo de Santo, Octagon, against Los Gringos Locos, Eddie Guerrero, and Art Barr.
Don't remember it.
You probably wouldn't. It was 94. They didn't have the hot box then.
I was 9. So, no, I
They
don't
didn't
remember
have
that
the
one.
hot box then.
Hit me with the next one.
November 7th, 1994. This one you're going to remember. The whole world remembers this one. Vince McMahon announces that Macho Man Randy Savage is no longer with WWE on Monday Night Raw.
This is so my biggest thing with Macho Man is, and I don't remember why it happened, like why the move to commentary actually happened. Was he hurt at all for whatever reason?
I just don't think that Vince thought that he had enough left in the tank.
So he brought him on commentary. He was the color commentator for Monday Night Raw. All of a sudden, he's gone. And then A Second Chance of Life by Eric Bischoff in WCW, all of a sudden he's wrestling again. So I feel like, yeah, Vince was definitely, putting the goozle on him. You know what I mean? Like
You also think, though, I mean, if it wasn't for the NWO, I think Vince would have been right.
Maybe. But the NWO was recruiting everybody at this point.
Yeah, but he was an early one.
He was an early one.
He was an early one.
And those shirts were so badass. Remember the Madness shirts that he had created with the black and white?
Then
one I do remember.
Elizabeth coming out in the NWO sequin dress.
Yes. So anyway, hit me with the next one.
All right. November 8th, 1975.
Won't remember this one.
No. Vern Gagne's 2,625 title reign was ended by Nick Bockwinkel for the AWA Championship.
Can't say I remember it, but I do know the names. So at least
Of course you do.
In that regard, I know the names at least, but that's all I know about that
So
one.
when Nick Bockel had beaten him, or Bockel, Nick
Him too.
Bockwinkel had beaten him, he held the belt for another 4 years. So in 12 years, AWA only had 2 champions.
Interesting. It's like the Dallas Cowboys coaching staff. It's like only for the last 15, it's just been McCarthy and fucking Jason Garrett. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh, poor Giants fans.
Yeah.
This one you're going to remember well.
All right, go ahead.
In November 9th, 1997, the Montreal Screwjob
baby.
Survivor Series.
So, all right. So I remember I was at my boy Billy's house, and I'm a Shawn Michaels mark, as some would say. He's my favorite of all time. I remember going into this match, and I said, man, oh man, there's no possible way Shawn can walk out of Canada with the championship. There's just no way it will ever happen. They'll never do it. He won't get out of there alive. And he almost didn't get out of there alive.
No.
I remember when Earl Hebner, I can just mimic the entire thing. Ring the bell. And I'm like, what?
And then he was gone.
And then whoop, right out the ring. And then all of a sudden, like fucking Brett spits on Vince. And I'm like, why would he spit on? What is Vince doing here? Like what is happening? Right. And I'm just like, dude, this is great. I saw Shawn. I remember knowing something was wrong when Shawn got the belt, walked away, went down the aisle, and did this and left. Like a quick shit. I have to show everybody that I'm excited that I won the belt, but I don't know why I just won the belt. Right. And the whole time, for a long time, people thought Shawn was not involved. But I mean, come on. Like everybody and their mothers knew that Shawn had something going on.
Till the day he died, Scott Hall claims that it was all a work, that Brett was in on it. Vince was in it.
But why? Why would that be a thing?
Because Scott said Vince McMahon is in control of everything during that taping. Why would he allow video being shown of Bret Hart hocking a loogie on his face?
Because they didn't expect it.
I don't know. Like Scott was
half the time. That's why I always say this about Bret Hart, is that like every time any memory that I have of Bret Hart, are yes, some of the great matches that he's had, but most of it is him throwing bitch fits, right?
Yeah.
And he's like shoving Vince down to the canvas, and then he's doing the cage match, and then he fucking grabs Vince at commentary saying, "This is bullshit," right?
Yeah.
And then this. So then, to your point, maybe a little bit of
Yeah,
gamesmanship.
that's what was. That's
Listen,
it's always
it's
been
not,
funny.
I guess it's not out of the realm of possibilities, but anyway, hit me with the next one. That
All
was
right,
probably the best one of all time, but go ahead.
November 10th, 2011, WWE unveils their logo for the new WWE Network, which finally aired 3 years later, 2014.
WWE Network got me through a lot because
Hell yeah.
I tore my ACL right as it was about to launch.
That's what got me back into wrestling.
So
all
I
those
had to
years
like
ago.
sit around and do nothing. But thank God for the WWE. I remember it was the first Monday night. So this might be coming up then too. No, it won't be because it was 2014. It was a Monday night after I tore my ACL. I thought like, all right, the world sucks, everything blows, blah blah blah. WrestleMania happens. I'm watching it. Great. It was the Monday night, and I'm laying on the couch because I'm like I can't move much, and the Warrior died. Like, and everybody got noted. Like, they got word about that, and I was like I'm complaining about my ACL. Like somebody just had a stroke and died. Crazy times, but yeah, WWE Network. Greatest thing that ever happened to all
that got
wrestling
me
fans.
back into wrestling because I remember when it came out, I was debating. I'm like, do I want to get it? Do I not want to get it? And I was, debating for a while. And then they had the free month. All I did was watch The Legends House.
Oh, it was great.
That's what got me to get the network.
My boy Hacksaw.
That's what got me to get the network.
And not only that, didn't Pat Patterson like come out and on that show, like told everybody, hey guys, by the way, I've been battling with this my entire life.
Patterson came out with that, and then Jimmy Hart came out with because nobody knew that his daughter died.
Right. Wow.
So that was what got
a
me to
great
get,
show.
Yeah,
man. It was a cool show. Roddy Piper was in it, I believe.
It showed how nutty Roddy Piper really was.
Roddy Piper is. You want to talk about goats on the mic? He's one of them.
He's one of my favorites,
if not one of the best. Can you one more time on the date of the screw job?
November 9th.
Perfect. So this will air tomorrow. Perfect. Because I'm going to put that bitch on the old interwebs. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. So November 11th, 2007.
Happy Veterans Day. Sorry.
Booker T makes his TNA debut on their Genesis pay-per-view, teaming up with Sting against Kurt Angle and Kevin Nash.
Sting! I will say, back in prime TNA, it was a loaded roster.
They were all part of the main event mafia after that.
It was just a cool time to be a TNA fan because that was the only thing that you can get if you were falling out of favor with WWE. That's the only thing that was in town was your independence and your TNA. I remember TNA ran the Rawway Rec Center like the day after we ran, and
really?
then and then Ring of Honor I think was the following weekend or something. So Ring of Honor was still prominent. But yeah, man, TNA back then was just cool. I mean, you had so many guys get developed there, but then so many legends went over there. TNA getting their name back, coming up soon, is a really cool move for them because it's going to bring back a lot of nostalgia, and I think that's going to be a win for TNA.
Well, to round it out for November 12th, 2001.
God, don't tell me.
Edge defeats Kurt Angle to become the final WCW United States champion until the title was reestablished in 2003.
I just said, don't tell me. Wait. This happened in what year?
2001.
Okay. I was going to say, I thought you said 2011. I'm like, so they went back 8 years? I don't remember this specific match.
It was on Raw.
But it's kind of crazy. I think it would have been cooler. And I'm not saying that they can ever do it because they wouldn't. And Vince is an egomaniac. He would never do it. But when they bought WCW, I kind of wish they kept their championships as like defendable championships, like the WCW Cruiserweight Championship or even the United States Championship. That was WCW's belt. Now you can't just be like, oh, it's now the WWE United States Championship. I'm like, ugh, I don't like that. Same thing with like the pay-per-view names when they're doing like Bash at the Beach and Halloween Havoc and all this other shit. I'm like, come on, man. It's like, those are WCW things. The nostalgic people like us will be like, can you not? You know what I mean? Like, just to get pissed off about it. But yeah, I mean, I don't
now they
remember that match
reserve those
specific.
for the NXT, which is
Cool.
which is kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely, because it's paying homage to the past.
Yeah.
And of course, the up and coming stars of NXT. So it's good. That was a good one. I'm going to believe that next week and the weeks as we get longer into December, January, we're going to start moving into like Rumble season. And I know there's going to be a lot of cool memories to go down that historic road in professional wrestling. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of No Pain. But shout out to Pain. No pain. No pain. No pain.
We took a painkiller today.
We did take a painkiller today. Goodbye, Chris Payne. Anyway, for Dave Sturchio. And what'd you do now? What did you? What'd you? Hit? The old rim shot. That's Tommy D, unfortunately. And we'll see you guys next time right here on the Chop Sports Fight Factory on Premiere.